Hey everyone, Rock DIY here. What I have here is the Eufy E340 doorbell camera. It's got a dual cam, one on the front, one on the bottom. The one on the bottom is specifically for packages that maybe you put on your porch. It's 2K. This one runs off a battery, and it's specifically on the one that's battery operated. There are 2 screws here, and these screws can be used to use electrical power from your home. But an important note is, if you do hook electrical up to this, the battery does need to stay in place. What I'm gonna do is, I happen to have this from another device and that's no longer in use. You do want this to be between 8 and 24 volts, and this one is 12. So this one will work. Only thing you need to do is loosen these 2 screws up. And I must caution you, whatever you do, don't have this plugged in when you connect the electricity. And then when you put these on, you do want to go in the direction that the screw turns. So that one will go on there. And it does not matter which side you put these wires. You can put them on either side. So I could take this wire and put it over here, this wire over here, and it's not going to make any difference. You got these little tails, you may want to cut them off, but the most important thing is making sure that they don't touch each other. And if you leave those tails on when you go to put it on, you may cause those to touch each other. Typically on the Eufy app screen, what you will see is if you have a battery operated security doorbell, as far as the symbol for whether it's battery or electrical, in this case, if it was no electrical hooked up to it, it would have a battery symbol. But as soon as you add the electrical and you plug it into a wall, it's going to turn into what looks like a plug for any appliance, any device. So that's how you know that this is working. Now that this is hooked up, the electric will work in conjunction with the battery. And unfortunately, with the electrical hooked up, you'll never know what the battery strength is, but the battery should charge, because typically with just the battery on, it'll give you the percentage, but because you're using electrical, you won't see that percentage anymore. That is how you hook this up. In my case, you may be wondering, how am I going to do this? So what I'm going to do is, I do have a log house that has chinking between the logs. What I'm going to do is run the wire. I'm going to drill a hole through the chinking, which is just 2 skinny boards. There is a plug right outside, but it's going to be very obvious that it's for the doorbell camera, so I don't want it right there. Here I got my wires coming through. This is a 12 volt wire, even though you can use 8 to 24 volts. The wire here, got a knot here. The other end of this is not plugged in right now. I'm going to strip these wires and put them on the camera. And when I put them on the camera, I'm going to put them on these 2 screws, and the wires can go on either screw. Got the wires stripped. I'm going to twist them so they don't get all frayed up when I put them on the screws. You do want to put the wires on so that you twist around, where it's like 15 degrees outside, so it's a little cold. That wire is on. Now I need to do the same thing with this wire. You do want to make sure that you don't have any wire going between those. So now that that is on, you can actually stick this right back on here. And you want to put the bottom in first. I'm going to pull the excess wire back through. The camera is off on the app, but if I push the button, even though it's not on the app, it's still going to chime inside and on the home base if it's hooked to the home base. Alright, so there's the camera installed. Alright, I'm going to turn the camera back on the app. Here right now, in that left corner, it still shows a battery because I have not plugged in the wires for the doorbell. But as soon as I plug those in, that's going to change to a plug. And if I go here to Power Manager, it shows that the battery is 92%. That's going to change too as soon as I plug it into the outlet. And I've got this set up to see what it does as soon as I plug it in to the wall. And putting the plug in the wall now, right there is a green plug instead of the battery. And then over here, it changed from battery to plug as soon as I changed screens. I don't know yet, but I'm curious to know that before I plugged into the wall, the battery power was 92%. I'm assuming that because you have to have a battery in it when you use the wall outlet, that it's going to charge or trickle charge the battery. So what I'll have to do is unplug it at some point to check to see whether the battery is charging or not. I would assume it would, but we'll find out. Even though I chose this option, the doorbell is directly behind this light switch right here. So I could have easily just wired into here or tapped into here, put some pigtails on it, and then put a transformer on it. But the issue I would have had is, where was I going to put the transformer? Obviously not on the outside, and I didn't want something just sitting out in the open. So I chose this option versus tapping into the light switch.